Hello, everyone. I'm Eric Bolling, along with Kimberly Guilfoyle, Juan Williams, Heather Nauert, and Greg Gutfeld. It's 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is The Five. We have breaking news tonight, a big document released on Hillary Clinton just before everyone gets out of Dodge for the holiday weekend. The FBI has released its long-awaited report on its investigation of the former Secretary of State's private email server, and it will make your head spin. You'll want to wait for that in just a minute. But first, I want to get an update on the very dangerous storm posing a threat to the Atlantic coast on this Labor Day weekend. Tropical Storm Hermine is moving north after slamming into Florida as a hurricane. Chief Fox meteorologist Rick Reichmuth has the latest on Hermine's path. What's up, Rick?
Massive storm that we're going to continue to watch here across the eastern seaboard. Tornado watches in effect with this storm, and we're going to watch that across the eastern seaboard. That tornado watch, that red you see there, is in effect for the next until midnight. We're also going to watch the very heavy rain moving on with this, and we have a long ways to go. In fact, we might still be talking about Hermine for about the next 5 to 7 days. Here you go. We are going to see a lot more rain with the storm. That rainfall totals are going to be maybe up into the 10-inch range across the Carolina coastline. Flash flooding threat with that. And then we are going to be watching the track of the storm pulling this right off of the Outer Banks before it gets stuck in the atmosphere. We're going to watch this sit likely until Wednesday or Thursday, potentially with winds of 75 miles an hour. That's hurricane force. Not sure if it will be a hurricane kind of structure with this storm, but nonetheless, because of that, we have the tropical storm warnings now in effect, including all of the Jersey Shore. And we have tropical storm watches in effect for the Connecticut coastline, pulling right in across the Long Island Sound. This is one of our models we watch. Watch what happens. Saturday, we have some hurricane force gusts in there. Looks like it's pulling away on Sunday. And then watch that. It comes back towards the coast. It's going to put a lot of energy right there across parts of the eastern seaboard. And we're going to be watching major wind damage from this and major coastal erosion. This is going to be our story that we're going to be dealing with all weekend long, probably all the way into Wednesday or Thursday before we are completely done with Hermine. Guys.
Wow. All right. Thank you, Rick. Wow. Tens of millions affected by that storm. All right. Now to another developing story. The FBI published notes from its investigation of Hillary Clinton, and it'll make you wonder why in the world the FBI ever cleared her in the first place. 58 pages were released. Lots of portions are redacted. They indicate Clinton claimed to be unaware of certain fundamental aspects of how classified information is marked. The Bureau says it couldn't obtain 13 mobile devices that may have been used by the Secretary of State to send emails from her personal email address. 13 devices. Even more concerning, aides told the Bureau Clinton frequently replaced her BlackBerries and the whereabouts of the old device would become unknown. There were 2 times, an aide said, he destroyed Clinton's old mobile devices by breaking them in half or hitting them with a hammer. During her interview, Clinton also said she couldn't recall all of the briefings she received on handling sensitive info due to a concussion. Trump's team responded to the report saying it reinforces Clinton's, quote, tremendously bad judgment and dishonesty. All right, we'll bring it. Juan, I got to start with you. Oh. 13 devices, and if you read it, I'm reading this document. At some point, this aide would literally go to a retail store on the street in Washington, D.C., and buy devices for the Secretary of State. You're all right with that?
No, I think it was wrong, and I think she said it was wrong, Eric. I mean, there's no question about that. Everybody thinks this was really crazy. Greg has said, listen, maybe she's an old person, and they're just not familiar with these devices. But I just think, look, she was asked to hold to a protocol established by the Obama administration. I believe she signed a document, and what's clear is she really didn't abide by those rules. She acted as if she is entitled to set her own rules, and apparently the people around her all bought into this. Now, let me also say, there's nothing here. I mean, this is a big flat zero.
All right. Why would you call it?
Okay, first of all, if it wasn't a big deal, why did they let it all out before a 3-day weekend? This is the sneakiest dump since that time I went on a group hike.
No.
Okay,
so badly
this
behaved.
is great. She doesn't remember signing the agreement regarding handling classified emails. She passes more bucks than an ATM. This is great. This is great. She thought the letter C, right? The letter C didn't mean classified. She thought it had to do with alphabetical order. So if she saw DOD, She probably thought, oh, they're talking about Chris Dodd, but they just didn't want him to know. And then when she kept losing her BlackBerry, they say whereabouts of the old device would frequently become unknown, which sounds like they're talking about Bill cigars. And then lastly,
Oh, my goodness.
a few weeks after the Times reported the private email account, her archive inbox was deleted. That's not a cover-up. That's a full-blown burqa. It makes a snuggle look like a thong.
Look, one of the things
very
it said, she didn't recall having received any of this training. And the number of times that she said, I don't recall, I would really like to know that number. And hopefully, eventually, more documents will come out and we'll start to learn how many times she said that. You ask any lawyer in Washington,
around
D.C.
40 times in these documents
In
that were
those
released today.
documents alone, though, Eric, imagine the number of times that she said that. You talk to any lawyer in Washington, D.C., and they will tell you, if you get in a pinch, if you are being investigated, Kimberly, you know this better than anyone, what do you say? I don't recall. And then she passes the buck. Harry Truman said the buck stops here. She passed the buck. She refused to take responsibility for this. You're smiling over there.
It's true.
And leaders take responsibility. She's not doing it.
Juan says it's a big nothing burger. However, 59% of Americans say they can't trust her, don't trust her. This ain't going to help that number go.
Then I think that is significant. That shows that it does matter, that it does resonate with voters. We've seen this consistently in exit polls, what's happening. And we have an ever increasingly tightening race here for the presidency of the United States. Do you want somebody that is going to avoid the rules, believe that it doesn't apply to them, really be somebody that you cannot trust at all, that doesn't have the integrity or the credibility? For her to say, I don't recall, I mean, that suggests a whole other issue there. Who are we getting that potentially could be in the most important position in the world as Commander-in-Chief of the United States? Someone who is probably one of the biggest national security threats to this country is that woman on the screen right there, and I'm not talking about myself.
Okay, so let me just make my point, which is that, you know, it's very rare that the FBI would do this, which is to turn over these documents. And in fact, it was the Clinton campaign, Clinton's lawyers, who were pushing for this release because the Republicans on Capitol Hill had gotten Jim Comey, the FBI director, to give it to them on a secure basis. And even the Republicans were complaining, why is it secure? We want to get this out. So now it's out. And now that it's out, you can say, well, gee, so what did they find? What did Mrs. Clinton do that was wrong and would have led them to indict? Well, the FBI, after this report, said there's no basis. They said they had a unanimous decision within the agency that there was no basis for criminal action.
Well, which is unusual in it of itself. They could have just, because they just could have turned over the investigation and said, here's what we found. You go, Department of Justice, you figure out whether you want to indict or not. But they actually recommended, as we pointed out in the intro, they cleared her crazily. I can't figure that one out. KG, these lawyers, this group of lawyers that represent Hillary Clinton, they were repeatedly asked by the FBI to turn over these 13 devices, and B, turn over information. And they kept saying, we can't find them. We don't know where they are. Finally, they found 2 6 months later. How much more isn't this withholding evidence? But it's not a court case, so what is there any recourse?
But here's the other thing. These are the same people that went through and decided what emails to delete, that they decided were not a matter of national security or of importance for anyone to see. I mean, this is so outrageous. That's what you see here. You see people trying to avoid any kind of transparency to try and dupe the American public, and especially on something of so serious of national security, Juan. It's outrageous.
I appreciate what you're saying, Kimberly, but I just wanted to specifically respond to that point because I think it's pretty damning what you said. And the FBI in this report said there was no effort to purposely delete or conceal emails. That's what they said.
Then why did they do it?
I don't.
I read this document. Archive inbox disappeared.
Yeah, I read that too, and I don't remember.
And why did she contact Colin Powell in 2009, which he said to her, "Be very careful." That kind of suggests that she had intent.
Give me a break. They bleached it like crime scene laundry.
They did. They
okay?
bleached.
That's what happened.
They bleached half of it. But also in this doc, I'm reading this. I'm like, here, you talk about this. They never encrypted this server because they were constantly fixing it, replacing the software on it, repairing damage to the server, so it was never encrypted.
Yeah, and I think she maintained in one of the emails that she believed that certain information about planning of drone strikes was not. It didn't bother her, or it wasn't that important if if foreign powers knew about that?
Well, that she claimed that she had gotten in one-on-one briefings, individual briefings, rather than having it come across her email system. But she consistently blamed her staff, saying that the staff, she had told them, instructed them not to send her any classified information. She's passing the blame onto them, kind of like the vast right-wing conspiracy, kind of like she's blaming Colin Powell for setting up the server. In the meantime, he didn't have a server. He had an email account, not making excuses for him. But there is an important difference there.
And kind of like she blamed the women that her husband had inappropriate relationships with.
Well, look, I think, you know, the political damage has been done to her reputation. And if that's your point, if the political issue is the point, fine. I agree with you. She's been damaged in terms of people saying she's not trustworthy.
But it's not a past tense. You're using damage.
I just don't see it. If there was something here,
continuously damaged and will continue.
No, I just don't see it, because even on the classified point, so I want to argue with you, Greg.
Sure.
You know what she said? She didn't see anything. She said there were 2 documents with the C that you were talking about, right? Okay.
She thought it was alphabetical.
And she didn't know exactly what, because guess what? I mean, it's like me and you in this building. Do you think that we know everything that goes on in the server here and in the email? We don't handle that. We're not.
No, that's for sure.
Well,
I just hope the 13 devices come forward.
Juan, when you talk with people who have experience looking at classified information, they will say something similar to this. It's kind of like porn. You know it when you see it. You know what it is when you see it.
Okay.
When something
Sometimes I'm not so sure, so I have to keep looking.
You have to keep looking.
I look until I find.
Okay, but the point is,
we need a
people who are
commercial
trained in this, people who are familiar with looking at these things, whether it was when she was in the U.S. Senate or serving as Secretary of State, she had seen this stuff before. Classified information, I am told, is pretty clear, especially at the very, very top secret levels.
Right, but so she says that what happened was that there were 2 documents that had the C on it. And the State Department says even those 2 documents had been misclassified, should not have had the C on it.
Last thought, Kate, before we go?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think that this is very believable that she's like feigning this act of ignorance and throwing her staff under the bus. This is a woman who's highly educated, who's been in on, Senate Armed Services Committee on classified briefings. There's no way that she wasn't aware of what needed to be classified, what was sensitive, and what could impact national security. So therefore, not only is she unscrupulous and crooked, she is somebody that has a level of incompetence and disregard that should not be allowed in the Oval Office.
This is why she's treating the press now as a grade school field trip. You know, they're all bound together. They have to stick together with their permission slips, because this is now what was once a fairly repetitive story is now you're beginning to see these things, and they come together as a mosaic of incompetence.
Manifestation, metastasizing. Oh, by the way, Tom Fitton, the president of Judicial Watch, is on O'Reilly Factor tonight. I'll ask him about this, because it was the FOIA request that they made that got these documents released. All right, ready to go?
Well, I will say one last thing, if you like.
Yay.
Trey Gowdy, right? Ken Starr. How much do you guys want to play into the Democratic idea, as Bernie Sanders said, I'm sick of these damn emails, but you play into the Hillary Clinton theme of this vast right-wing conspiracy and scandal mongering never stops on the right.
But these are actual emails, Juan. We can read them.
Yeah, so what? If they didn't find anything, is it they never hacked, never compromised?
Right.
No, that's not altogether clear. That's inaccurate. That is inaccurate. That is contrary to the findings. They said, and specifically, you listened to the press conference by Comey, said that he believed that foreign actors were able to get in, and further evidence has come forward that they did have access. China and Russia are laughing at you right now.
One more thing at the end. Next, Trump revealed more about his meetings with Mexico's president last night when I interviewed him on The Factor, and he doubled down on who is going to pay for that Great Wall if he gets in the White House. Hear that just ahead. And later, have a question for us? Post it now on our Facebook page, facebook.com/the5FNC. We'll answer some of them. Facebook Fridays is always fun. Don't go away.
Oh, yeah.